So welcome back to Biomindscape. Today we are going to know an important chapter of class 12, that is ecosystem. Now let's know what is ecosystem, its structure and function. So an ecosystem can be visualized as a functional unit in nature, where the living organism interact among themselves and allow with the surrounding physical environment. So ecosystem varies greatly in size from a small pond to a large forest or a sea. So many ecologists regard their entire biosphere as a global ecosystem, as a composite of a local ecosystem on Earth. Since this system is too much big and complex to study, so it is convenient to divide into two basic categories. So what are the main basic categories? That is terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem. Like forest, grassland and desert are some of the examples of terrestrial ecosystem. Ponds, lake, wetland, river and estuaria are some of the examples of aquatic ecosystem. You will make an flowchart for it. First write terrestrial, then aquatic, then what is included in terrestrial and what is included in aquatic. Then after that, crop field and aquarium may also considered as a man-made ecosystem. This is also an important point. So we will first look at the structure of ecosystem in order to appreciate the productivity, that is the input and transfer of energy like food chain, web, nutrition cycle, and the output, that is the degradation and energy loss. So all this will be covered in this chapter. First we will know what is ecosystem, its structure and function. So in earlier classes you have looked at various components of environment like abiotic and biotic. Mention in the comment box what is abiotic and biotic. Your study have an individual biotic and abiotic factor and it affect each other and its surrounding. So let us look at these components in more integrated manner and see how the flow of energy takes place within these components of ecosystem. So interaction of biotic and abiotic component, it result in physical structure that is characterized for each type of ecosystem. First is identification and enumerations of the plants and animal species of an ecosystem, give its species compositions. So what is this enumeration of the species? A flora or a systematic enumeration of the plant species that occur in a given region. Like a flora, they may cover any suitable area from a taluka to district or state or a country or even continent. So the word flora, it also refers to publication made from systematic enumeration of plant species. Enumeration means list or recounting or tally or an account of the plant or animal. That is enumeration. So vertical distribution of different species occupy different level, and what it is called? Stratification. What is stratification? Vertical distribution of what? Different species at different level, that is the stratification. For example, like trees, it occupied the top vertical strata or layer of forest. Shrub, the second, and herbs and grassland, it occupied the bottom layer. So the component of ecosystem are seen to function as a unit where you consider the following aspect. What are the aspects? Like productivity, decomposition, energy flow, nutrition cycle. To understand this ethos of an ecosystem, let us take a small pond as an example. This is fairly a self-sustainable unit and rather simple example that explain even a complex interaction that exists in an aquatic ecosystem. So a pond is a shallow water body in which all the above mentioned four basic components of ecosystem, we can see it. They are well exhibited. So abiotic component is in the water with all the dissolved inorganic and organic substance and a rich soil deposition at the bottom of the pond. So the solar input, the cycle of temperature, daylight and other climatic conditions regulate the rate of function of the entire pond. And the autotrophic component, it includes the phytoplankton like algae and the floating, submerged and merging plants. They are found at the edges. Consumers are represented by zooplanktons. They are the free swimming and bottom dwelling forms. So decomposers, what are they? They are fungi, bacteria, flagellated, especially abundant at the bottom of the pond. So this system perform all the function of any ecosystem and of the biosphere as a whole. So that is conversion of inorganic into organic matter with the help of the radiant energy of the sun. By what? Autotrophs. Consumptions of this autotroph by heterotrophs, and then decomposition and mineralization of the dead matter to release them back for reuse by the autotrophs. So these events are repeated over and over again. So there is unidirectional movement of energy toward the higher trophic level and its dissipations and loss as an heat to the environment. The type of ecosystem, with a natural ecosystem like forest, grassland, desert, pond, lake and ocean, we know that. Artificial ecosystem, that is the man-made, example crop field and aquarium. And pond ecosystem, it can be abiotic and biotic. So abiotic pond ecosystem is water, light, temperature and nutrition, and we can see that biotic ecosystem, they are divided into producer, consumer and decomposers. So the producer consist of phytoplanktons and algae, and consumer, they consist of zooplankton, small fishes and frogs. And decomposer, they contain the fungi and bacteria. So energy flows from sunlight to algae and then small fishes to the large fishes and then finally the decomposers. So there are various type of nutrition cycle like biogeochemical cycles. The movement of nutrition between living and non-living component we can know by this nutrition cycle. So there are major cycle like carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, phosphorus cycle and sulfur cycle. So the carbon cycle, it helps in the photosynthesis, respiration and combustion, whereas the nitrogen cycle, it is nitrogen fixation, nitrification, ammonification, denitrification. And in phosphorus cycle, it is used, we can see in weathering of rocks. It is used for the plants, by uptaking by the plants. And sulfur cycle, like it shows about the volcanoes, decompositions and assimilations. So the ecological pyramids, there are the graphical representation of tropical level like pyramid of number, pyramid of biomass and pyramid of energy. So we can see that the pyramid of energy is always upright, but it can be inverted like a number and biomass in some aquatic ecosystem. Like the component of ecosystem, what is an ecosystem? It is a functional unit of nature where living organisms like biotic, they interact with the non-living component that are the abiotic in a specific area. So ecosystem is a structure and functional unit of biosphere which consists of living organism and their physical environment which are interacting throughout the flow of energy and cycles of nutrition. So various component of ecosystem like abiotic, it consists of the non-living factors that affect the life, example physical factor and chemical factor. Physical factor like the light, temperature, water, air, humidity, and chemical factor like pH, soil, salinity, nutrition like carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, etc. And the biotic component, they are the living organism like the producer. The biotic component include the living organism like producer that are the autotrophs like green plants, algae, which makes the food for photosynthesis. And the consumer, that is the heterotrophs like primary consumer, the herbivores like deer, rabbit and zooplanktons. The secondary consumer like frogs, small fishes, they are the carnivores. Then tertiary consumer like hawk and lion, they are the top carnivores. And the decomposer, they are saprophyte like bacteria, fungi, which break down the deadly matter and recycle the nutrition. So the structure of ecosystem consists of living things, biotic, and non-living things that are the abiotic component. So we have seen the pond ecosystem. Other ecosystems are forest, grassland, desert and marine. So what is the function of ecosystem? Ecosystem function can be understood through productivity, decomposition, energy flow and nutrition cycle. So productivity. Now let's know about the productivity, the primary productivity and the secondary productivity. So the primary productivity is the amount of biomass or organic matter organic matter which is produced by the producer per unit area time, and gross primary productivity is the total photosynthetic product, and net primary productivity, it is equal to the gross primary productivity minus the respiration. So it is the energy available to the consumer. The secondary productivity is a biomass produced by the consumer like animals, and decomposer is what does it do? It breaks down the dead organic matter detritus in simple substances. So they are the fragments. The detrivorous earthworm breaks detritus into small pieces, like in water soluble substance go into the soil. Catabolism, that is the decomposer secrete enzyme to break down the complex molecule. Humanification is a form of humus, that is a dark partly decomposed organic matter, and mineralization is release of the inorganic nutrition. So decomposition rate depends on the temperature, which is fast and warm and moist condition, and nature of litter, that is small simple compound, they decompose the fast. So energy flow, what is energy flow in ecosystem? Energy flow is unidirectional from the sunlight to the producer to the consumer, and then finally the decomposer. The tropical level, it have various level, first, second, third and fourth. First is the producer, then herbivorous, then carnivorous, and then carnivorous. Then the laws of energy, they are governed by Lindeman's 10% law. Only about 10% of the energy is transferred from one tropic level to the next, like sunlight 1000 joules to the plants 100 joules, and then herbivorous 10 joules, and then finally carnivorous 1 joule. The food chain and food web, a state sequence of who eats whom, like grass, from grass to grasshopper to the frog, then snake, and then hawk. This is a grazing food chain, and the second one is detritus food chain with the dead leaves which will eaten by the earthworm, then finally the frog, and then snake. The food web, when many food chain interconnect forming a complex network, it provides stability to the ecosystem. That is a food web. So you understand what is a food chain and what is a food web. Thanks for watching. Do like, share and subscribe.